there, I'm Genny Perez. I'm a wife, mom, and small business owner. And although I love being all of those things, I'm at the point where I feel like there's something more to life outside of those roles. Does that sound like you? If you're in search of that extra magic, craving a dose of positivity, purpose, and real talk on being worthy, capable, and able, you're in the right place. Let's kick off this journey together, ignite that spark, radiate some positivity, and discover what makes your life and business truly shine. Ready to jump in? Let's spark some radiance together.
Now, today's episode was not the episode that I had planned. I was supposed to have a guest today. I was ready. I was prepared. I got all dolled up, and then life happened. My guests actually had to cancel. And at first I thought, okay, now what? But then I sat with it for a second and I allowed myself to hear myself. And I realized maybe this was the episode I was supposed to record today, because something that has really been on my heart lately is this idea of being still. It's something that I'm working on, and it's something that I'm trying not to do more. I'm trying not to fix everything, not rushing to the next thing, not filling every quiet moment with noise, just being still enough to hear myself again. And I think sometimes life creates space for us, even when we didn't ask for it. You know, we live in a world that is so loud. There is always something to do. There is always something to check. There is always something to respond to. There's always a problem to solve or something to figure out. And if you're anything like me, sometimes even when everything around you is quiet, your own mind is still very loud. I know mine sometimes goes in circles. But what you're really thinking about is maybe what needs to get done, maybe what should have been said. Some things that come through my mind is what should I be doing next? What maybe I'm behind on? What everyone else needs from you? I know this is key as a mom and as a business owner. There's always somebody that needs something from you. But somewhere out of all of that, you know, our voice gets buried. And it's not because it's gone. It's not because you don't want what you need. It's just because we don't have enough space to hear it. And I think that's why this topic has been sitting on my heart lately, because I'm in a season where I'm realizing that stillness is not laziness. Stillness is not falling behind. Stillness is not doing nothing. Stillness is the work. It takes work to be still. Sometimes sitting with yourself is actually harder than staying busy. Because when you're busy, you don't always have to feel. You're not allowed to feel. You don't always have to face what's been sitting in your heart. You're too busy to recognize it. You don't always ask yourself the hard questions when you're busy. But when you slow down, things start coming up. And maybe that's why we avoid it sometimes. I know I do it. I don't want that feeling, because stillness has a way of showing us what we've been ignoring. Stillness is so uncomfortable. And today was kind of a reminder of that for me. I had a plan. The plan changed and I had a choice. I made the choice. I could have just said, you know what, forget it. I'll record another day. I'll just move on. But something kept telling me, no, Genny, you need to sit with it. Use this space, because maybe this quiet moment is not an interruption. Maybe it's an invitation to pause. Maybe this quiet moment is an invitation to listen. Maybe it's an invitation to share what's actually on my heart without overthinking it. You know, I prepared this episode in minutes, and sometimes it takes me days to prepare episodes. And, you know, when I think about the cancellation or the delay or the change of plans or the quiet season that's unexpected, the unexpected pause is something that I can cherish and make room for. Because of this pause, I can make room for clarity. I can make room for honesty. I can make room for something that I didn't even know I needed. Maybe I needed this conversation as a reminder to be still. I think for so many of us, we're craving answers. We want to know what's next. We want to know if we're making the right decision. Those thoughts always keep going through our head. We want to know if we're on the right path. We've talked about paths before. We want to know why something didn't work out. We want to analyze that.
This episode is brought to you by RGP Agency. If insurance has ever felt confusing or you're not sure where to start, that's more common than you think. We help simplify your health, life, and annuity options so you can actually understand your coverage and know what makes sense for you. Visit us at rgpagency.com to learn more. Now, back to the show.
But sometimes the answer doesn't come because we keep moving. We're moving, and not only moving, but moving too fast. We're moving too fast to even hear the answer. Sometimes the answer comes in the pause itself. It comes on the walk. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know I love, love, love my morning walks. Sometimes the answer comes in the silence of the car without any music or podcasts going on. It's in the moment you finally stop trying to perform and just to breathe. And I know silence can feel extremely uncomfortable at first because we're so used to the noise. Sometimes silence is where your soul and where your inner being finally get a chance to speak. So if you're listening to this and you feel overwhelmed, maybe scattered, or you don't hear yourself lately, maybe this is your reminder to make space. Not a whole weekend retreat, not a perfect morning routine, not a complicated plan. It doesn't have to be any of those things. It just has to be space. Maybe that space is 5 minutes without your phone. 5 minutes without your phone can make space. A walk without trying to solve your whole life. Like taking a walk and genuinely observing what's around you. Maybe it's a quiet drive with no sound around. Maybe it's a moment where you ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Ask yourself these things and then quietly listen. Don't judge yourself. Don't dismiss what your feelings are coming up. Don't immediately try to talk yourself out of it. Just listen. Because sometimes we already know the answer. We just haven't made enough space or maybe given ourselves permission to hear it. And I want to say this. Being still doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean everything magically becomes clear. Sometimes being still just helps you notice where you are. And that matters because you can't keep pouring from a place where you haven't checked in with. You can't keep showing up for everybody else and never ask yourself how you're doing. You can't keep pushing through every season and then wonder why you feel so disconnected from yourself. At some point, you have to pause and you have to ask yourself, where am I now? What am I carrying? What feels heavy? What feels true? What is my heart trying to tell me? And maybe the answer is simple. Maybe the answer is complicated. Maybe your heart says, I'm tired. Maybe it says, I need help. Maybe it's your voice saying, I miss who I used to be. Maybe it's your voice saying, I'm ready for something different. Maybe it just says, I need a minute to breathe. All of that is okay. So today, when the afternoon didn't go as planned, it gave me something better. It gave me a space to reflect on. It gave me the space to reflect on what sparking radiance is about for me. It's not about having it all figured out or perfect and planned. It's about finding the light again in the middle of real life. And most of the time, finding your light doesn't happen in the loud, exciting, and busy moments. It happens in the stillness, in the quiet, in the space where you stop performing, stop rushing, stop pretending you're fine, and finally ask yourself what you need. Our spark never leaves us, but sometimes you have to get quiet enough to notice it again. So maybe today didn't go as planned, but maybe it went the way it needed to. Maybe this episode is a reminder for not only myself, but a reminder for yours that, plans change. They don't always have to mean something when it goes wrong. Sometimes they create space for us. And maybe that space is where the real message is. So this week, I want to encourage you to find the moment to be still, not to fix everything, not to figure out your entire life and on your lunch break, just to hear yourself again, because your voice matters. Your heart matters. And that quiet little whisper that's inside of you, that quiet little whisper that deserves a chance to speak, let it speak. As always, thank you for being here with me.
You hear that clap? That's me cheering you on for completing another episode. I don't know about you, but man, that was quick. If you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button or share the episode with someone you think that might need a little spark. And help us grow by leaving a review. Remember, keep sparking that radiance from within. Until next time, shine on!